So let's talk jurisdiction.
Hello everybody and everybody else. My name is ScrypKat and this is ScrypKat Says. This is Mark Stevens, sovereign citizen guru, author, talk show host, internet lawyer. His claim to fame is teaching others how to circumvent the legal system in order to get out of taking responsibility for their own actions. He has trumpeted his successes in court multiple times. However, in my opinion, dismissals by the court are not the same as winning cases on the merits. Mr. Stevens has authored books which cherry-pick laws and court cases to convince others that his system works. According to Juan Galt, an attorney of 20 years standing, who himself was a proponent of the sovereign citizen ideology, Mr. Stevens' YouTube channel is highly politicized and caters to the far right in this and other countries. Mr. Stevens' motivations are clear: money. Mr. Stevens, however, has left many bodies in his wake. People who have come to believe in his philosophy but have failed in the implementation of the same. His response to this is consistent. It's the person's fault for not using his system correctly.
What is jurisdiction? Well, jurisdiction is the power to act, the power and authority to act, to hear a case, a particular type of case. So you got three different types of jurisdiction, and the courts have to have generally you have to have the two. You have to have subject matter jurisdiction and you have to have personal jurisdiction. Subject matter jurisdiction just means that they can hear by law, and jurisdiction, of course, is only given by law. Generally what you have is the Constitution, and then jurisdiction is also given through the legislature through statute, and that's it. So the Constitution and statute will give the court, like what used to be here, the Gilbert Justice Court, to hear, let's say, traffic courts, or they can hear small claims up to a certain dollar amount. That's what they're able to do. That's subject matter. They have to have over that particular type of case. Now, of course, I've said that just because a complaint is filed doesn't mean that there's actually a case. So a case means a case or controversy, which is the violation of a legal right and damage. You have to have some causation, okay? I know we've got so-called victimless crimes, but that's a different video. So we all know that jurisdiction, whether it's in court or out of court, physically being in Arizona, that is supposed to be that what somehow ties you to the law, which would then give this court at the time, which would give the courts jurisdiction.
Now, why do I bring up Mark Stevens? Well, take a listen to this.
And the jurisdiction still has yet to be proven, which is another thing that needs to be challenged. There has not been proven that there's subject matter jurisdiction as of yet. There's no verified proof of it. There's no verified proof of even a claim, especially if I'm not allowed to face my accuser. And I don't understand how you can make that judicial decision, Your Honor, when it's clear discrepancies in the paperwork of this matter. Like I said, I have yet to see jurisdiction be proven. It has not been proven. I have yet to see a complaint. I have not seen that.
This is Darrell Brooks. He is accused of killing 6 people, including 1 child, by driving through the Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin in 2021. He has repeatedly stated during his trial that he does not consent to being called Darrell E. Brooks and knows no one by that name. He is simply standing as a third party representing his client. He has yet to identify his client, however. According to Paul Davies of Infomatic Films, who has published a cute little video regarding the idea of a straw man, when you are born, the state provides you with a birth certificate which contains information including your name in all capital letters. Somehow this creates a bank account of some kind. This all caps name is your straw man, a being who no longer exists but did exist just long enough for the government to create this moneyed account. Follow me so far? Supposedly, these monies are what backs up the government's economy, since the United States is no longer on the gold standard. In other words, you and I and everyone else in the Western world stand as collateral for their nation's monetary system. Nah, it doesn't make any sense to me either. And what's all this got to do with jurisdiction? This is just the very tip of the iceberg. It's all part and parcel of the same crazy ideology. Yeah, I said it. Crazy. Let's take a listen to Dr. Grande and hear what he has to say.
Now here's where it gets even stranger. This belief affords them an opportunity. They refer to this as redemption. This is where they can separate from the state and use the money in that account to satisfy financial obligations. For example, the money can be used to pay for credit card debt, mortgage payments, car payments, and rent. It's more than just failing to recognize the authority of the government. They believe the government owes them money. It is not unusual that when a sovereign citizen is involved in a court proceeding, they will try to submit a copy of their birth certificate into evidence. Now moving to the mental health and personality factors. There are several symptoms and characteristics observed in many people identifying themselves as sovereign citizens. It is important to recognize that any particular individual sovereign citizen may not have any of these symptoms. Let's take a look at some of the common symptoms. Paranoia is one we see quite a bit. They believe they are being persecuted by the government. We see stereotyped and bizarre speech, often of a quasi-legal nature. They tend to use what appear to be carefully crafted phrases. They think they're using correct legal terminology. They do this to avoid prosecution and to discharge their financial obligations. It becomes clear right away they actually have a poor understanding of the law. They often refer to their vehicles as conveyances and alter their license plates to contain words like republic and phrases like kingdom of heaven. Their beliefs are typically egosyntonic. They seem normal to them as opposed to ego-dystonic. That's when somebody is disturbed by their own beliefs. So we see a lack of insight here. They believe they have attained a level of enlightenment that exceeds the people around them, like they have a special ability to see what's really going on. They believe they can escape liability by using lowercase letters. Again, all capitals refer to the straw man, so they use lowercase letters to be exempt from the rules. They tend to believe in a number of other conspiracy theories. For example, they might believe that the moon landing was faked, that alien lizard people have infiltrated Hollywood and the government. They might be anti-vaccination, and they may believe the earth is flat as opposed to spherical. Sovereign citizens tend to use certain words and phrases much more than people in the general population. Here are a few examples. Freeman, accepted for value, domicile, traveling in a private capacity. They like the questions, who is the victim and where is your oath of office? They use the word near with a zip code, or they use brackets around the zip code. We see the phrases common law, de facto government. They use the term employer ID number as opposed to social security number. They use the term special trust deposit. They refer to the government as a corporation. And they like the term chargeback notice. This one is popular when they are trying to get out of paying a bill. So this allows them to use that money in the trust account to pay for, again, financial obligations. Sovereign citizens are also known to engage in what's referred to as paper terrorism, mostly through filing nuisance lawsuits and liens against public officials. As far as mental health disorders, some are thought to have psychosis, including both hallucinations and delusions, although it is believed that the vast majority are not psychotic. So they probably don't have disorders like schizophrenia or a major mood disorder with psychosis. Even though their behavior often appears delusional, they may not qualify as having delusions because their beliefs are sanctioned by a large group. Interestingly, the sovereign citizens do tend to stay together. They communicate frequently about their odd beliefs. Their beliefs represent the transmission of misinformation combined with gullibility and paranoia more so than a true delusion. We also see that cluster A personality pathology and symptoms are overrepresented in this group. The cluster A personality disorders are paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypal. They are thought to be on a continuum with schizophrenia. It is not unusual to see grandiose and narcissistic behavior as well. We see a sense of entitlement, overconfidence, and arrogance. Interestingly, the presence of legal stressors due to their behavior seems to drastically increase their level of conviction in the sovereign citizen values, suggesting that many of them are simply trying to escape the consequences of criminal behavior. With all this in mind, it becomes clear that there is no one profile for members of this group. Some of the members appear to have mental disorders, like those involving psychosis and extreme personality traits, whereas others do not appear to have any mental illness at all. Their beliefs are conspiratorial, but they also happen to have a convenient utility for committing theft and fraud. Therefore, this belief system will be attractive to a wide variety of potential motivations. It's not just members that are susceptible to bizarre thinking, but also there are con artists in the group. The spread of this belief system to so many people points to the dangers of conspiratorial thinking. It's not just that one person believes something that isn't true, it's really about the ability to transmit those beliefs. With this particular movement or conspiracy theory, there is an element of danger. Often conspiracy theories are thought of as bizarre but harmless. Here we see an exception to that rule. Beliefs like these can be maintained without psychosis. They represent subclinical delusional thinking, so a level of delusional thinking that would not normally be treated by a mental health professional. This level of thinking is consistent with insufficient evidence integration, so jumping to a conclusion after seeing certain evidence without considering the rest of the evidence available, essentially a lack of critical thinking skills. I find this movement to be pretty interesting. Most conspiracy theories don't have an upside to the person who believes in them. For example, if someone believes in alien lizard people, they usually don't believe that the lizard humanoids are going to give them money or break them out of jail. It's like the members of this group were thinking, if we're going to make stuff up anyway, we might as well get something out of it. I mean, how convenient is it to find out you're owed up to $20 million? Although if they're going to make things up anyhow, they should have made it like $1 billion. They could write a book titled Turn Your Conspiracy Theories into Cash, although I don't know how they would reliably ship them places without using zip codes, so their sales might be a little sluggish. In a sense, this movement provides a convenient way to escape any legal responsibility, although not actually a good way to escape it, but in someone's thinking, they could look at this as the ultimate exception to all laws. Rather than fight each law on its merits, it's easier to simply say, I'm exempt from all legal action. Again, highly convenient to a con artist, but also, I think, something that is tempting for somebody with conspiratorial thoughts. Those are my thoughts on the sovereign citizen movement. Please put any opinion.
Well, I think that's enough on this topic for now. As I said, it's just the tip of the iceberg. For the purposes of this channel, we're looking at primarily cluster A personality traits such as paranoid, schizophrenic, and schizotypal personality disorders. And as Dr. Grande stated, a lot of narcissism is going on with these folks as well. It's a fantastical escapist philosophy prone to fraud and theft. The dark side of the sovereign citizen movement is its treatment of women and children, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. Join me next time when we find another rabbit hole of psychology to jump into. Remember, ScrypKat says, when given a choice, pay your bills and obey the law. It's not that hard. Bye for now.